Hello guys, welcome to Sunday Speculations episode 3 with Arpan. So what is Sunday Speculations all about? By now most of you should know that every Sunday I will upload a video on this YouTube channel discussing a big question about science, mainly physics, philosophy or life, and yes, anyone can ask questions. So you can submit your questions too by visiting this page. I'll drop the link in the description or in the comments on my website. You can visit this page and you can ask your questions. And if the questions are possible for me to answer, if they satisfy the requirements, then I'll address these questions in some future Sunday speculations videos. So please ask relevant questions and don't ask more than 3 questions. So this is all about Sunday speculations. So there has already been two past episodes of Sunday speculations. In the first episode, we had discussed the question like, do we need fundamentally new kinds of laws to describe complex phenomena? This is a very crucial question, and in case you are interested, you can check out the episode on my YouTube channel, or I'll drop the link in the description or something. So basically, it addresses the question about reductionism and emergence. That's one of the central problems in modern science. So whether we need fundamentally new kinds of laws to study complex phenomena, or whether complex phenomena can be explained by the conventional laws, but can be theoretically explained by the conventional laws, but not practically due to the due to the due to the fact that they depend on the laws in a very complicated way. Like, I'll not go deep into this here because I don't want to waste your time and my time. So but you can watch the episode 1 if you're interested. And in episode 2 we discussed a philosophical question. Is life meaningless? Like, what is the point of everything? This kind of question, that is also an interesting one. You can check it out. And in episode 3 today we'll discuss a very interesting question, but to which many of my friends wanted an answer. Like, I recently did a poll on YouTube community, and most of you voted for this question. So the question is, see, there is, before I start, there is no definite answer. Of course there is no definite answer. This is not a question in an exam that it will have a definite answer. So but in this episode of Sunday Speculations, I will fill you in with the basic details if you don't already know all of this. So what's the question? Is science going to end? So is science gonna end? It's a very interesting and important question. I don't know if you have thought about this at some point of time, but so yeah, I've discussed this in detail in my book, the updated edition, and yeah, here's one important point. Just to let you know, you can email, or my email is available on the internet or on my YouTube channel. On my website also you can contact me. So you can email or message me for a free PDF of the book in case you are interested. Because I took this decision that although you can buy, if you want to support me, you can buy the book on Amazon or whatever, Barnes and Noble and whatever. But if you want to read the book, but if you're not ready to spend money on it, then you can always ask me for a free PDF. I'll share it with you. And if you're interested, you can read the book. If you are in my contacts, you can directly message me for a free PDF on WhatsApp or something, or else you can email me or contact me on my website. If you're interested in to read the book, I can give you a free PDF. Because of course, as I say again and again, my target is not to do business. My target is to communicate science to a broader audience. And I don't think that, I've not written the book to earn money, and I want very little money from the book, but I have successfully reached quite a few peoples, and that's where my satisfaction lies. So if you want a free PDF, you can message me always. Now today we'll discuss the question very briefly, but if you want to understand the so-called end of science due to the emergence of a theory of everything, that is unified field theory. Again, we have discussed this topic, like theories of quantum gravity, the marriage of quantum field theory and general relativity, the theories of quantum gravities like string theory and loop quantum gravity. So all these things we have discussed in some previous videos, and in the book we have discussed in detail. So you will need to read the book if you want to understand the so-called end of science due to the emergence of a theory of everything, because it's a common misconception that once we find a theory of everything in physics, science will come to an end. But now, what is the theory of everything? It's basically a theory that will explain all the 4 forces of nature in a single theoretical framework. A single field, a single super force, a single field will explain everything, all the possible interactions that can possibly take place in this universe. Like forces are due to interactions, like forces or interactions, they arise due to the exchange of particles, and so these kind of things are the basic, like these ideas are the basic building blocks of quantum field theory and modern physics. So, or maybe I'll make a future video about it, as I've written here in the slide. So let's begin. Now, also, this video will only discuss my personal perspective. So yeah, I may be biased, just a fair warning. Of course, uh, this will discuss just my personal perspective. So I may be biased. My tryst with physics and consciousness. So this is a bit personal. So you may skip this slide if you wish, because this is not really related to the question, but if you're interested, you can watch. So one question haunted me from the very beginning: what is consciousness? I've discussed it in detail in my blog, on my website. Let me show you. uh, I know this is going we have already crossed 5 minutes, but let me just I'll just drop the link. If you say how it all started in this blog, I have discussed in detail why consciousness, and then after that physics interested me, and all these things. So my tryst with physics and consciousness, one question haunted me from the very beginning. Haunted in the sense, like, I was it was so bewildering. It was so, I always used to wonder about it. What is consciousness? I initially turned to neuroscience for an answer, but later on discovered the beauty of physics, and here I am today pursuing a BSc honors in a subject I once hated, and one which I now love more than anything else. And this love for physics is due to the beauty, elegance, universality, and simplicity of physics. So all these concepts, beauty, elegance, universality, and simplicity, I can't discuss in detail here, but yeah, the theory of everything, quantum gravity, unified field theory, these phrases keep me up at night. But if we do discover a theory of everything, will science come to an end? Or let's make it more general. After we have discovered everything there is to know, or everything possible for us to know, what will happen to science? At this point, although I've not written it on the slide, but let me just say it, since this is a video, so let me just say it. I should have written it in the slide, but anyway, it's a very important point. So even if our universe is simulated by some computer or some super intelligent creature, a computer simulation, advanced simulation, no matter how advanced, can never simulate infinity. This is a very important point. I've discussed this in the book. All of this I've discussed in the book. All of this. And if you want to research more, you can ask for a free PDF, or you can always do the research on the internet, on YouTube, or on internet websites, other websites. So basically, I'm sorry for the noise. Please don't, I don't have any other option. Please don't mind the noise. I hope I'm audible. So yeah, everything we have already discovered that there is some amount of coherence, some amount of order in the world around us. It's not chaotic. It's not entirely chaotic and meaningless and unpredictable and incomprehensible. And it is very likely, we can't say for sure, but it's very likely that there is there is a finite explanation to everything, like, because infinity cannot be simulated, and infinity cannot exist in that sense. Like, infinity cannot be perceived, infinity cannot exist in that sense. Like, in some sense, I think you're getting an idea of what I'm trying to say. So it is possible, entirely possible, that there may be a final explanation, a finite consistent theory of everything, a finite explanation of everything that is happening around us, at least in theory. Maybe practically it's not possible to describe a tornado or a complicated phenomena like the heart beating by using the physics of electrons and quarks, but in theory it can be done. In theory, the elementary particles, or if you go by string theory, the strings, they can explain everything in theory. So this is the thing. So that means there is a limit to our knowledge. Now it may be the case that we will know everything in the course of time, and so that is what I've written here. After we have discovered everything there is to know, what will happen to science? What is the second possibility? Second possibility is that of course there is a finite theory of everything, consistent finite explanation, but it is out of our reach. So that's why I've written here, or everything possible for us to know. You see, everything possible for us to know. So after we have discovered everything possible for us to know, that means we cannot know everything because of our limitations. It's not possible for us to know everything. So whatever be the case, the question we're addressing here is that after we have discovered everything there is to know, or everything possible for us to know, what will happen to science? Or in other words, is science going to end? So is our journey nearly over? I received an email from one of my readers a few days back. The question was a simple one, but a very important one as well. So in many portions in the updated and original edition of my book, I have claimed that our journey of discovering the fundamental laws of nature is not over. It has only just started. So in the book, basically, I've discussed the journey of physics, the history of physics, from classical mechanics to Newtonian mechanics. To the development of mathematics, then the cosmology, astrophysics, a bit of astrophysics, because I'm not an expert in astrophysics. I just a very basics, and then I've discussed relativity and quantum mechanics in some detail, because these are topics in which I've done some study. So, and then after that, I've discussed the particle physics, the modern physics, theory of everything, in these kind of things, this kind of stuff. And then I've turned to chaos theory, and then consciousness, and then I've finally concluded the book with a chapter on metaphysics and science. Like, is science really better than metaphysics, or the other way around? These kind of questions I've addressed. So basically, the book is not just a book about physics; it's about a journey of humankind's long journey about discovering the fundamental laws of nature. And through the course of the book, I've told many times that our journey is not over. It has only just started. So this reader who emailed me, actually, she has read the book called The End of Science, Horgan's book. See, John Horgan. John Horgan is the name of the author. So she has read the book The End of Science, and although I have not read the book, but I have done some research about John Horgan, and I don't have the time to read the book right now, else I would have got a copy and read. So anyway, however, there are some people like John Horgan who believe that there are no new fundamental truths to be discovered. Now, here's an emphasis on the word fundamental. Of course, there are many new truths to be discovered, but in the applied sciences maybe, but no new fundamental truths to be discovered. So maybe science is nearing its end. I highly recommend Horgan's book, The End of Science, or at least this article. Let me just show this to you. This is an article which you can access freely. Why I think science is ending. A talk with John Horgan. This is the link. I'll again give the link in the description for you. So it's a short summary of Horgan's argument. So I would, if you don't have time, I would say you go with this article. So if you are interested in diving deeper. So these people do have a point. These people means those people who say that science is nearing its end. There are no fundamental new truths to be discovered. So we are growing up in an age of rapid progress, but it doesn't make sense to say that this rapid progress will continue forever. We must eventually either find the answers to everything, or we will perhaps find that some questions will always remain unanswerable. We have already discussed this, and as I've already said in the book, I think the latter is more likely to be the case. So quick note on God. This is not strictly relevant, but I've included it nevertheless. At this point, I would like to make it clear that although there may be some deep questions we will never be able to answer, there may be some limitations of us, there may be some limits to knowledge, I don't believe that we need to resort to believing in God to explain these questions. That's not what I think. Some things are unknowable, but that does not imply anything more. They are unknowable because of our limitations. They are not unknowable because there is something greater power or God behind them. According to science, it's entirely possible, and I would say very likely, that the universe exists just by itself without any external help from God. My philosophy can be summed up in these words. In fact, if you are with me on WhatsApp, you will see my WhatsApp status is set as this: ordered complexity is a fortunate product of random processes. So, and even on my website, on the very homepage, this is written. So this is the basic. My philosophy can be summed up in these words: ordered complexity, like consciousness. Consider consciousness, or consider any complex system. There is some amount of order in the world we see around us, but ordered complexity, according to me, is just a fortunate product of random processes. It's not due to some deeper power, some greater power, some God or something like that, according to me. Of course, I may be wrong. So, and I've discussed about God and stuff in many previous videos as well, but let's not go deep into this topic here. Let's keep it for another day. Back to our question. Coming back to our question of whether science is going to end, of course, it does not seem likely that we will go on discovering profound new theories forever. The emphasis is on the word profound. There must be some final truth which may or may not be accessible to us. And it's true that we have discovered many important pieces of the jigsaw. Right? We already know a lot. This is actually we shouldn't say this, like, because the more we know, the more we can appreciate our ignorance in a better way. The more we know, the more we can appreciate how much there is yet to know. But that is a figure of speech, and actually, like, quite honestly speaking, there is a lot to know. Of course, there is a lot left to know, lot remaining to know, lot yet to know. But there are many profound new theories to discover, like profound or fundamentally new theories to discover. That is what seems likely. That is what is according to most scientists. So because we already know a lot about, just see one thing. You see, we have already unified, not satisfactorily, but still we have unified three forces of the nature. Three forces of nature, like gravity, sorry, not gravity. I mean, electromagnetism, weak nuclear and strong nuclear force. There are grand unified theories, and even string theory is a very radical approach, and it proposes to unify all the four forces. We know all the kinds of interactions that can take place in this universe. We just don't know about dark matter, dark energy, and a couple of things like holographic principle, but still we have some good insights. So actually we know a lot. I'm not saying we know everything, but we know a lot. However, I still believe that our journey is not going to end anytime soon. Because, in my opinion, there are still paradoxes that need to be resolved, problems that need to be solved, and questions that need to be answered. Of course, I've claimed we will not be able to answer all questions, but I don't think we are reaching our limits yet. And even if we do discover a theory of everything someday, it will only be a great generalization. It will be a generalized theory, a theory which will be applicable to a broader range of phenomena. But that will that does not mean that we will get the answer to all the questions. It would not spell the end of science. Because science is not just about just the fundamental nature of reality. Science is about making our lives more convenient, making our lives better. Science is about technology, and of course, science is also about understanding the fundamental nature of reality and about answering the big questions. But to answer the big questions, you need the help of technology, and if you find the answers to the big questions, that will help technology to develop in the process. So it's a mutual process, right? So it would not spell the end of science, if that's what your question is. We know quite a lot actually, but I don't think it's over. The same thing. Today we understand a lot about the fundamental nature of reality. We just don't know for sure how to unify general relativity with quantum field theory, although we have some promising approaches like string theory. Then we don't know much about dark matter, dark energy, the Big Bang, and the quantum measurement problem, and a few more things. The quantum measurement problem is here actually, you know what? Ironically, in the poll which I created on my channel for this week's Sunday speculations, I said I asked you to vote for which question you would like the answer to. The first question was, is science going to end? And most of my friends wanted the answer to this question, so that is why I'm discussing this right here. And the second question was, do the interpretations of quantum mechanics really matter? So there is a concept like this, that quantum mechanics is just a mathematical formalism. It's mathematical formalism, and what is really going on, like the physical interpretation of quantum mechanics or the philosophical interpretation of quantum mechanics, they are all meaningless because it's useless to hypothesize about that. There's a If you've read the book Physics and Philosophy by Werner Heisenberg, it's a very great book. Then you will understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so but I'll not discuss that in this video because probably in the next week we'll address this question, the quantum measurement problem and the interpretations of quantum mechanics. So anyway, but we do know almost everything else. We have a rough understanding of pretty much everything. So doesn't it seem likely that science is nearing its end? No. And here's why. New questions will come up as we find answers to the above questions. Exploring these new questions will open up newer areas of research, and reality may be stranger than we can imagine. Okay, I admit it may be the case that after and if we discover a true theory of everything, there will be no profound and fundamental truth to be discovered, but still, working out the consequences and implications of what we have already discovered is going to take a lot of time. This is very important. Working out the consequences and implications of what we've already discovered is going to take a lot of time. So the applied sciences, there is a lot of scope there. And even in theoretical physics, there are a lot of questions to answer. To infinity and beyond. So this is just a good analogy is infinity. Most mathematically illiterate, don't take it otherwise. Mathematically illiterate means people who don't have a graduate degree in mathematics. I'm not saying they're illiterate people, of course. Like I am almost mathematically illiterate because I just started my undergraduate studies in mathematics, physics honors degree, but we study mathematics, but I just began, so I cannot be said mathematically literate. But so anyway, most mathematically illiterate people believe that infinity is simply a huge uncountable number, not exactly a number, just a notation, a concept. But if you ever decide to study real analysis and countability of sets, you will learn that even infinities can be classified into countable infinities and uncountable infinities. You will say, of course, infinity is uncountable. It's a big number. So what is the difference between countable infinity and uncountable infinity? Now that is something I don't want to discuss in this video because we have already wasted 19 minutes. Not wasted, but the video is already 90 minutes long. So just the idea is that there's a lot more to infinity than you might think. Same story with science. Didn't Albert Michelson once say that all there is to physics is to fill in the sixth decimal place? Like Albert Michelson once said that all that remains in physics is to fill in the sixth decimal place. And what he meant by this statement was that he said this before the theories of relativity and quantum mechanics came, like before the relativity and quantum theory came. So, but at that point of time, only two forces were known: gravity and electromagnetism, and we had Maxwell's laws of electromagnetism, and we have Einstein's theory of gravitation. Sorry, Newton's theory of gravitation, because general relativity was not invented till then. So we had Newton's theory of gravitation, and it was believed in general. The classical physicists believe that they have discovered everything that is there to discover. So maybe better accuracy could be achieved in the future. Like the predictions could be done more accurately in the future due to the advancement in technologies. That is what Albert Michelson meant by the sixth decimal place, to fill in the sixth decimal place. But everything essentially was discovered. Albert Michelson, according to Albert Michelson, he said this, but after that, there came quantum theory, there came relativity, and the entire physics scenario was changed and was revolutionized. And today, even after more than 100 years from when Albert Michelson said this, we are left as clueless as almost as clueless as then. Like then came quantum mechanics, and today we have theories of quantum gravity. They just give us a taste of our ignorance. Yes, we may be nearing the end of the journey, but we don't have convincing evidence that this is the case. We should always be open to the possibility that there are many more new things to discover. In any case, nobody is stopping you from believing that science is nearing its end. And if you do believe this, you have a point. Like I find the emphasis is on the word some. I find some of Horgan's arguments pretty convincing, to be honest. And I think there is a limit to our understanding. We will one day reach that limit, and science will end then. Science will essentially end then. Like, right. But I just don't think we are near there yet. And here's the most important advice from my side. The best way to find out whether we're reaching the limits of knowledge is to do real science and see how far can we go. I once took an interview of the renowned string theorist, Professor Edward Witten. There I asked him like a similar kind of question. I was almost 2 years younger then, and of course the question seems very foolish to me now. But I asked him the question that, don't you think there is a limit to knowledge? There is a like we ourselves are part of the system. So how can we understand the system in its entirety? There must be some limits to knowledge. So to which he answered, and now I realize that it was really a very clever and very good answer. He answered that the only way to find out the limits of knowledge is to do real science and find out how far can we go. So that's what I'm saying. The best way to find out whether we're reaching the limits of knowledge is to do real science and see how far can we go, instead of speculating about the end of science, because speculation will not take you anywhere. So that's all, guys. Thanks for watching. See you again next Sunday. And what do you think? Is science going to end? So a lot of you requested me to take up this question. So I would like to hear your comments. Comment below. Please comment below, and please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks a million, guys. As always, thank you.